I'm done now.
Right, so hi guys, welcome to my webinar, What is a Birth Keeper? My name's Lou and I am a former midwife of the NHS. I left in November last year because I really wasn't happy with the maternity services and the intervention, particularly on labour ward, and I just wanted to find another way to support women. So I did a course with the lovely Nikita Stark, who's with us today, on when push comes to shove. And like I said, I left and now I'm a birth keeper. So I just wanted to share with you all what that is. So if you're all ready, I will share my screen. Okay. You seeing that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okie dokie. Right, is it better like that? Or let me just... Oh, not like that. Bear with me. Okay, I'm going to do actual size because it's... there we go. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Right, okay. So what is a birth keeper? So a birth keeper is there to support you throughout your pregnancy and labour and is the keeper of the sacred wisdom of birth. So most people are familiar with the term midwife or doula. More unfamiliar term of a birth keeper. It's not new, and it was created by a lady called Janine Parvati Baker in the early 70s. Janine was a birth activist, and she was a midwife, and she stated that a birth keeper is a keeper of the sacred wisdom of birth. They encourage women to know their rights, to empower themselves with knowledge, and to ensure that they are claiming full responsibility for their experience. A birth keeper is someone usually that is a former midwife or someone that is experienced with pregnancy and birth. So you need to know your rights. So most women that go through the maternity service are usually told what they can and can't do. So where they can give birth, scans that are needed throughout, blood tests that are needed, and when the time comes, induction and labour. So it's our job just to inform you what the evidence is and what the risks and the benefits are of all the interventions that are offered. So you need to know that you can accept or decline any of those things, and ask your care provider, what is the risk? Should I accept those? So we're here to advocate for you. If your voice isn't heard, we can attend appointments with you and just be a support generally. So you need to empower yourself with knowledge as well. So we will ensure that you are well informed with evidence-based information and where to go to inform yourself. So things like studies, quite large studies, or meta-analysis, which covers different studies, quite a large group of women, and it's things that are individualized to you and to your situation so that you can make a choice for yourself. And it's not just one size fits all, it's just for you. Claiming responsibility for your experience as well. So in line with the information that you obtain from your birth keeper and the research that you do yourself, it gives you full power in your pregnancy and your birth experience. So that will make you feel empowered so that you can make those choices for you and your family. So what's the importance of a birth keeper? So we provide support spiritually, mentally, practically and emotionally throughout the whole period. So when I say emotionally, I mean if you've got any concerns throughout your pregnancy, any worries, a birth keeper is usually there to alleviate any of those concerns that you might have. So I myself can talk to you over the phone, over Zoom. I can book extra appointments to come and see you. Just any of those niggles that you might have, then they can be alleviated before they become bigger problems. And as mentioned, evidence-based information, pointing you in the right direction for what studies are relevant to you. We can also help you navigate the maternity system so that if you want to engage with NHS services, then we are there by your side. So going to appointments with you and perhaps asking questions that you might not think to ask, or questions that you might not feel comfortable to ask. We can be there to support you with that. And also appointments that aren't rushed and a little bit more relaxed, because I find in the maternity system, they're quite pushed for time, they're pushed for staff, and it is usually a one in, one out kind of system. So I personally give appointments up to 2 hours, so we can sit and have a cup of tea, have a chat about any concerns you have. Even if you don't have any concerns, we can just talk through things that are important to you. And just encouraging you to take control of your birth and listen to your body and listen to your innate wisdom, where you know what's right for you. And just having that support can make you feel empowered so that you can make those choices. And holding the birth space for you to find the power within, just to completely connect with your true self. So following your gut. So people say follow your gut, and that means just listen to yourself. You know yourself, what's right and what's wrong. And if it feels wrong, then you shouldn't do it. So we don't provide medical care, but we're there throughout the whole journey. So usually if we are former midwives, then we might be able to recognise if anything is deviating from normal, or what's, you know, not sort of going on course. So we can say, okay, this is what we recommend, this is what is happening. If something is taking a little bit of a turn, we can communicate with you and say, these are your choices, you can do this or you can do this. So we're here to help you recognise your power, like I said, and wisdom, so that you can birth the baby in whichever way you choose. So whether you decide to give birth at home, or you decide to go to a birth centre or labour ward, then we can be there by your side. So the kind of support that we give in labour and birth. So we can support you physically, emotionally, practically throughout. Whether you might be a tactile person and want a back rub in labour, or you might want someone to kind of guide you and talk to you gently, or you might not want any of those things. And because we know each other quite well, you'll be able to talk to us about what you want and what you don't want in labour. And you might actually change your mind during labour. You might decide you don't want anyone to touch you, you don't want anyone to talk to you, and that's fine too. And it's just about working with one another. And we'd already know each other, so you know, we'd be able to connect with each other, so we know where we're going. So just also a gentle reminder to breathe deeply to assist in relaxation. So when you breathe deeply, you oxygenate your body, and thus oxygenating your uterus. So the uterus is a muscle and it needs oxygen in order to work. So it's working quite hard in labour. So you need to oxygenate it. And also relaxing your body will help the labour to flow much more smoothly if you're able to relax. Even though that you're feeling uncomfortable, that'll be quite useful. And also suggesting different positions which will aid the flow of labour and help the baby descend in your pelvis. So things like all fours position, upright positions, this lady here is leaning over a birth ball, which is quite a nice position for baby to move down. You can sit on the birthing ball and bounce up and down as well, which some women find useful. And she's also got in this picture a rebozo scarf, so placed over the bump. We can move the scarf left and right, or up and down, just to help the pelvis move so baby can get in an optimum position. So if baby's not in quite the right position, these are the sort of things that we can do to help you. And keeping your birth space really calm and quiet so that you're not disturbed. So meaning keeping the birth space without loud noises and things that are going to interrupt you, because you need oxytocin to help things flow nicely. And if there's loud noises, that's going to interrupt that process. Also monitoring temperature and lighting of the room. If you're feeling cold, that can also stall things a little bit. So making sure that you're nice and warm, and the lighting of the room is nice and dim, perhaps candlelight or whatever you choose. It could be fairy lights, just so that the space remains comfortable and tranquil. If you've got bright lights, that can also spark adrenaline. So when you release adrenaline in your body, then the oxytocin goes away, because oxytocin is quite a shy hormone, and any of those things can make that go away, which can stall labour. So whichever place you decide to give birth, then it's just making sure that that space is really nice and comfortable for you. And just guiding your partner to support you as well, because sometimes partners don't really know what to do. They've never seen you in that capacity before. They've never seen you uncomfortable. So it's just supporting them to support you, and sometimes taking a bit of a step back so that you can connect with one another, which will induce oxytocin, which is the love hormone. So kissing, cuddling, and just letting you guys do that so that things can move forward. And ensuring that you're well nourished and hydrated throughout. Usually in the later stages of labour, you might not feel like you want to eat, but in the early stages, you might feel like you want to have a snack, and it's important, again, to help the muscle of the uterus, because it needs to be nourished, and keeping hydrated, because it's hard work in labour. So also emptying your bladder, because your bladder is at the front, and if it's full of urine, then your baby won't be able to descend into your pelvis because it's blocking the way. So every couple of hours, I might suggest that you empty your bladder. Even sitting on the toilet is a really good position to be in for baby to descend, because your pelvis is in the right position as well. And just your birth keeper being present might be a comfort to you. So like I said, if a birth keeper has known you from the beginning of your pregnancy, you've got to know each other quite well, and likely that there's going to be a real good connection there and trust between the two of you. And it's a familiar person, just so that you can relax and focus on yourself, and just so that you can have the best experience possible. Yeah, so that's it. So my details are there. So my name is Louise Clay, as I said. My telephone number is there if you want to jot that down, and my email. I am on Instagram and Facebook as Lucina Birthkeeping. And if you would like to book a 30-minute free consultation with me, then just let me know at the end and we can do that. Or you can text me or email me and I'll get back to you. So,
Thank you.
okay.
That's amazing, Lou. Really, really good.
When would you recommend people book? At what point during the pregnancy do you think people should book?
Well, it's entirely up to you. So you can book ideally from the beginning, because then at the start, then you can start to build that bond between the two of you. So as early as possible. So ideally from about 12 weeks or earlier if you want to, but it's your choice.
And what was the question I was going to ask? So the birth keeping goes on to the birth, is that where it ends, or is there something that comes beyond that? Or?
No, so personally I offer packages. So you can have several appointments during pregnancy and through birth, and depending on how many appointments you want, I can see you postnatally. I offer breastfeeding support as well. Bring that up here because I'm aware I'm looking over there. Yeah, so it depends on what you know. It's all individualized to your personal experience. So if you want to see me 2-3 times postnatally, some people might feel like they want a little bit of extra support, particularly if there's any sort of breastfeeding issues, or they just want that extra support, then I can book in some more appointments there.
Yeah.
How would you clarify the difference between a birth keeper and a doula? So why would you go for a birth keeper over a doula? Well,
I mean, both offer very similar services. So in terms of the non-medicalisation and support, but usually a birth keeper, as mentioned earlier, usually has a medical background, so they might recognise certain things that are deviating, but they both kind of offer the same thing. So it's down to personal choice whether you choose to have a birth keeper or a doula.
I think a lot of people feel some sort of reassurance with birth keepers over doulas sometimes. So that could be a point that would make them choose a birth keeper over a doula, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely not knowledge of what one is. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously not knowing that. I mean, before you had said your path, do you know what I mean? And I'd never even heard the term birth keeper or doula. You know, I hadn't heard any of those terms until they came out of your mouth. You know.
Yeah.
So I guess it's an awareness of knowing A, what one is, and B, what one does.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so,
and I think that's why I decided to do this, because I think it's important that people know, because then they can make the choice whether they would like to have one to support them. Because if you don't know it exists, you can't have it. You see what I mean?
I'm gutted that this service, it might have been around when I was pregnant. I'd never heard of it, but I certainly would have gone down this path.
Definitely.
Certainly.
Yeah. Lovely.
Do you think statistically women are more likely to have an empowered birth with this type of service over than the standard?
Absolutely. There's definitely studies out there to prove that, and even continuity of care in itself has proven better outcomes for women. So booking a birth keeper or a doula can ensure that you have got that continuity of care, because it's so many studies to show that it does improve outcomes.
It's one-on-one as well. I remember my appointments I went for, I think every single time I saw someone different. You know, it wasn't that sort of one person that got to know me that didn't, you know, so I can really see the benefits in how that can really get beneath the skin, if you like, as far as sort of like the care and the trust and the whole feeling that surrounds that. Because when you trust someone, you're going to feel that much more comfortable around them, and especially in that sort of situation with having children.
And you're not going to have to repeat yourself, because I find that when I was working as a midwife, and especially if I'd met them for the first time, I felt they'd had several midwives before me, and they'd have to explain, and you could tell that it was like they're having to explain the situation again. Whereas if you've got one person throughout, even if you are engaged with NHS services, you've got that one person that knows everything about your situation, everything about your pregnancy, and you haven't got to keep repeating yourself all the time.
That's a really important point that you should put into your next sort of webinar or when you speak to people, because that's actually really important. Lots of people have never given birth before, and so there are you've always, in any situation where you've not done something before, when you leave that sort of appointment, you go, oh, I wish I'd asked this, or I don't actually understand what that means. Now you would Google it, but I mean, I didn't have Google then when I had Mackay. So you're just like, I don't actually know what that means. So I think what you've said there in terms of the fact that they're quite often you do see a different person every single time. Therefore, you are not building a relationship with anyone. It can be quite isolating. Even if you have a partner, they're not going through anything that you're going through. So I think it can be quite an isolating experience. So when you say like lots of multiple people, maybe sometimes it could be then a different doctor's office, it could be in a different town, that sort of stuff. If you have one person by your side the whole time who, one, has medical information, two, used to be a midwife, and three, is there to support you with any, the stupid questions that you're too embarrassed to ask.
And the niggling things like,
my body's itchy and it doesn't stop itching and I'm not sure what that means, but I didn't want to say anything. That's actually a really important question.
Absolutely.
That's got to do with your liver and stuff. So that's a really good thing, I think, to mention when you do it for real life.
Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also think it'd be really good to mention, because you're in this line of work, you also have a great big network of people who have other areas of speciality. For example, Alison here does tongue tie, and
fantastic.
So that we know people that are specialists in cranial osteopathy and stuff like that, because when you get into this realm of one-to-one care, you're then in a network of people with deeper understanding of smaller aspects.
More specialized.
Absolutely.
It's all about working together, isn't it? And just sharing the knowledge and sharing, if you've got something that you need to kind of escalate, if you like, or sort of share with someone, then you've got that support there as well, which is really good. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen. Actually,
I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing. So can come
natural,
back.
darling. You're a natural.
I'm going to stop.
You make me want to be pregnant.
Thank you, darling. I'm going to stop recording. Anyone's got any last words before I stop?
I had one more. I had a question. I didn't get to ask it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it.
I just wanted to know. What was the question?
So when you were pregnant, when you were going through your pregnancies, how do you think that like you would have benefited from having a birth keeper if you'd known about it?
Wow, definitely. I think it's the continuity of care that we've been speaking about, because myself, I felt like I was repeating stuff. I had pretty low risk pregnancies and I didn't have anything additionally going on, but I did feel like everyone I went to, it was repeating myself, and I had to quickly say what I wanted to say, and then like we said, I'd come away going, oh no, I forgot to ask that, and I don't know what that is, and then and I had no one to, and maybe I could have messaged the midwife, but I felt like I couldn't bug them. I was like, oh no, I felt like a bug. I thought I can't do that. But at least
you're just a number in a line in a queue with people
and
that the woman's got to see in a day.
So at least this way with a birth keeper, you can just send them a quick text. Oh, what's this? And
the other thing,
come back to you. No, it's all right. No, they can just quickly come back. Oh, it's that, or look at this, or So it's definitely having one person. I would have definitely wanted one, really connect with someone. There was a midwife
on your side.
Yeah, there was one midwife in my first pregnancy who I really connected with. Although I did see other midwives, I saw her more so. And I had a really good connection with her. And I think that's what sparked me to be a midwife, in fact, because I wanted to have that same connection with women that I had with my midwife. I thought, I could do that. I could really connect with people. So, yeah.
You should go and tell her that she was inspiring.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I had a completely different experience with Zach when I was pregnant with Zach. I decided to have him at home anyway, and they were trying to give me every reason didn't do, and I must have him in hospital. I had possible fibroids, and I best have him at hospital. And I said, I live 10 minutes away, so if there's any problems, I can always come to hospital. And I saw someone different on every single appointment. And my wife, who I never even met, who turned up 2 hours after Zach was born, I might add, because she delivered Zach. Yeah, she just turned up, and they ended up just sort of coming and having a chat and a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? Like types it. It wasn't like she even do anything in the end. She turned up with somebody else. I didn't even know her. Yeah. You know, but where on the service you're providing, especially, you know, I mean, someone might have even heard the sound, the name, but might not know what it involves, what you know, what's different. I guess the normal sort of service would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think the personal touch. It's a personal touch, and knowing that you've got someone that's on your side and that's got your back. And it isn't like, I mean, it's different. I think when you go to hospital and you see a specialist, there's not really that personal. Be nice, and you might connect to them, but there's not kind of that personal touch there. Right. You know, which I feel like you would really get within this, because you did be establishing the relationship alongside, you know, the service.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
I'm going to stop recording now.
Thank you.